Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me as always is Ben Slinger.
Yes, I am. And joining us this week is Adam Perry, also known as Pez, or better known as Pez in a lot of circles, founder of the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network, and by the time you hear this, I believe former host of You Game Bro. Is that right?
Yeah, oh God, you nearly made me sound like Khaleesi then with all these titles. Hey everybody, how are we?
We're very well.
Okay, thanks for having me on. Sorry. I realised I had to mute my phone then. It just started the call. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate coming on. I'm excited.
Yeah, welcome.
Let's do this. Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
So what can you tell us about your previous You Game Bro experience?
Previous You Game Bro experience. It's, at the time I was there, it was the coolest podcast online that ever existed and ever will exist. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
And it's just
gone, make the best and only the best.
Just gone downhill since then.
Yeah, just from knowledge, I think, Maddie, it's just a flaming pile of shit now. Like, I left it all behind me for my new role, which I believe, since we've recorded this early and this is going to be out a bit later, I am now the social and community manager for 2K Games Australia.
Wow, fantastic.
Wow, fantastic.
That's awesome.
Very excited for that. It's the first time, actually, I've said this on a podcast, which I should have said it on my own, but which will be live on the week we record.
That's it. We don't quite get the scoop, because by the time this airs, everyone will know.
It's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. You'll get the scoop, but everyone will go like, duh, guys, that was 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Get with the times. Usually our content isn't that timely, so we can hold off, but stuff. So your question was about You Game Bro. So for those that don't know, I was the host of the You Game Bro podcast, which was every Wednesday, twitch.tv/You Game Bro podcast. I love saying that. It took me a good year and a half to nail that right. Yep. Where I interview myself and my co-host, Mr. Matty Mouse, aka Matt Waterworth. We'd interview individuals and personalities within the gaming industry, from YouTubers, streamers, developers, or just famous personalities, and just pretty much just shoot the shit and talk why they love video games, what their first video game was, what they just love in gaming in general. And I talk way too much about my bowel movements or my masturbation. I did a challenge where I couldn't masturbate until I finished this game called I Am the Boshi, and that went for 111 days. So for 111 days, there was this thing called #PezWatch, where everyone was like keeping up to date on my masturbating, checking your browser history and.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm married with a lovely wife, sexy redhead. We fear it's permanent, but that will do for me. I love saying that joke. And that went for 111 days, where eventually I bit the bullet and I was like, I can't finish this game, and then I went and had a pity masturbate. I don't know if you can cut that.
And you filmed the whole thing.
I just sat in the mirror and cried.
That almost sounds like a Bitstorm game.
Yes.
Something we come up with. Needs a custom peripheral.
I've actually tried the I Want to Be the Boshi, and that is just an impossible game. I can't believe that people have actually finished it.
Well, there's we said, I don't know if you want to beep it, but the Force, which is 3 streamers. One is Excessive Profanity, which is Australia's biggest Twitch streamer. Then there's Wet for Jesus, which is also the lead singer of the band Closure in Moscow, and then another gentleman called Darius Carlin, which is a music producer that does all he does this music called Sonic Art, which is just like video game style music that kind of clashes with the Australian culture in gaming. Mm-hmm. And they've formed this group called the Force. You can beat this as many times as you want. And they do this thing called the Force races, where they pick a video game and they race it. And I Am the Boshi was their very first one, where each one of them went aside for a whole year and practiced this game to the T. And they did a speed run, and they finished it in, I think it was around 6 hours. But the world record for this game with 100% complete is 1 hour. The average first playthrough is 9 months. So I was 111 days into it, and I made it up to level 4 of 12.
Oh man!
And games don't do what this game does. It's a simple game created by a guy called Solgren. Solgren, and he made this game called I Want to Be the Guy, which is a famous hard game for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he had a streamer called Boshi who complained to Solgren that this game was just not hard enough. So he said, "Rightio, fuck you, mate. I want to be the Boshi," and it pretty much turned out to be the hardest thing ever. So I took that on. It was.
I'm gonna have to give that a go and then throw it away after 5 minutes. But
yeah, if you can beat the first level. The first level is the boss in it is Hello Kitty, where Hello Kitty's attached to a balloon and she's shooting doing power beams from Dragon Ball Z, doing Kamehamehas at you. And the music's so intense and it's so timing. And you just feel the emotions of gaming, like the 7 steps, like sadness, happiness, rage, regret. Like you're dwelling on life. It's like, why do I even exist? But then I added the level of the no fap challenge where I couldn't actually masturbate or have sex with my wife. So it made the game even more frustrating, but it was that drive to beat it. But when you beat that game, when you beat a level in that, there's a feeling of accomplishment that you just don't get from video games anymore. And I'd honestly say Boshi is probably, even though I haven't finished it, even though it nearly killed me, but this was one of my favourite games of this year. It was better than Horizon. It was better than Nier. It was better than whatever. I loved it. I still do. I want to get it on my Switch. Anyway, how are you guys going? Yeah.
Good. I think we should.
I reckon we should get started.
Yeah, let's get started on some Click Pitch. All right, so for those just joining us, Click Pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we each get a word, and we smush those words together, and we come up with a game design. So, let's see how it goes. We're doing three words tonight, because there are 3 of us, and 3, 2, 1, click. Right, my word is mother.
Incoming.
Betrothal.
Oh, okay.
I'm loving this.
Yeah. So my first thought is like the mother-in-law of like one of the, depending on the perspective, but one of the mothers of either the groom or the bride at a wedding and how they can kind of take over or take control. And I guess dealing with that, I'm not sure what sort of game it is. Platformer.
I kind of like the idea that it's you play one of the ushers at the wedding, and you've got to try and keep the mother-in-law from interfering.
That's good.
And maybe in a hard version, you got to keep both of them from interfering.
Right. So they're coming in to try to replace the flowers with the ones they actually wanted, or complain about the food.
What was the full words again? It was mother.
Incoming,
and betrothal.
So was it mother-in-law or just mother?
It's just mother. But, yeah.
Mother. Oh, okay. So I thought it was mother-in-law. I had this idea. It's could be a platformer. It's where it's you got to get out of the wedding on a series of platforms before the mother gets hold of you and proposes to you. But that's kind of sick.
This is like a fight between the mother and the daughter.
Yeah.
And you have to,
or unless the mother pretty much just says, "You're not going to marry my daughter," and you got to get to the daughter. There's GTA scenes where you got to get to somewhere before the other person. You got to get there before the mother and propose, and each level gets harder and harder.
Yeah, that's it. You've got a disapproving mother-in-law, or soon to hopefully to be mother-in-law because you're trying to propose. But you got to dodge out of the way of her and get to the daughter.
And she's got a
gun.
I'm thinking in the early levels. Of America. In the early levels, yeah, she's got a gun. In the later levels, she's like a jigsaw sort of serial killer.
It's like you wake up strapped to a chair and there's a TV with her face on it.
Yeah, totally. You will not propose to my daughter. You will never escape here.
I like it. I will play.
That's cool. So, what sort of game is this becoming then? Is it kind of a room escape by that point?
Oh my god, you could do both. In my head, I've got a really clever pixel style platformer that where you've got to constantly move. It's the mother-in-law is a real giant woman, and she's slowly devouring the level, but you got to be quick
as the levels go on. She just gets more and more monstrous.
Yeah.
So, have either of you seen the movie that was entitled Brain Dead in Australia or Dead Alive in the United States? It was a Peter Jackson film where basically at the end of the film, spoiler for a 1980s film, basically the mother who died early on in the film becomes this giant, massive zombie.
Okay.
That her stomach just opens up because it's basically a womb and she's trying to envelop.
Oh, God.
And that's literally what I'm seeing in my head now when you're saying that she's devouring the whole level.
With a weird, creepy womb that's just...
Yeah.
Oh, God, this has gone
I'm
into
looking
weird
at
places.
that now. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I think we'll end on the weird womb mother and get a new word.
3, 2, 1, click.
I have foothold.
Circulation.
Repeat.
I got like a surgeon simulator sort of thing in there. It's like where, like, imagine like surgeon simulator, like you're like a wrestler, but you're in the angle. Have you played surgeon simulator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you're a wrestler, but you got to get the foothold, and you got to repeatedly like that's each level is get them in the foothold, make them tap out, but you got it like one hand, and you got to use keyboard and mouse.
Oh, okay. Or just some sort of like similar controls in that you're sort of controlling each limb or something. Maybe it's a really intensely detailed wrestling simulator where you're controlling each limb with a different key or something.
Yeah.
And you do have to...
And you're really trying to cut off their circulation.
Yeah, exactly. Knock them out.
Yeah, I'm with that.
That'd be cool. I could see that going into some really wacky directions where, like, depending on how realistic you make all the sort of joints and how rubbery the limbs are, but just basically being able to tie the other person up in knots if you get the right combination of keys.
Yeah, the sound effects need to be good. You got to be able to hear the skin stretching.
I like that. Yeah, once you get them into a hold, you can just like pull it tighter and tighter and just really stretch out that skin and hear that sound.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with it.
Hear the bones like dislocating and
I'd be
crunchy.
into that. Like it's almost Gang Beasts sort of style, except more realistic humans and a bit more control over each limb. That'd be cool. I feel like that could be a really fun like couch multiplayer game.
And sound effects. It's really, really good for the point where you're about to snap their ankle or foot or whatever, and then you hear them go, no, like they're really pleading. That's how you know. You got to hear the sound cues. It's like when they're really complaining, you got them.
And of course they have to tap out. Like it's not just a tap out button. They have to control that limb in the correct way to tap onto the floor. To tap the mat. So if they sort of have to untangle, like keep an eye on which way their limbs are twisted to make sure they know which way to like move the hand.
Down with that. I'm down with that. Very down with that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if there's another way that we can take foothold.
My other idea was maybe like, well, and when you said Surgeon Simulator, Pez, I thought maybe it's a cross between Surgeon Simulator and like Shadow of the Colossus. So you're this person and you're having to do surgery on these giant creatures and literally like climbing up the side of them with your scalpel. And that just, then you can like, you get to the top of, you know, you're having to take the appendix out of this giant. And so you find the spot and then you just do that move where you like stick the scalpel into them and like slide down. Like fucking, what is it? Robin Williams in Hook down the sail.
Oh, yeah. I'm with it. Yeah. That took me on another route then. I'm like, what if you play the Colossus, but you're playing, like, your controls are simply like Surgeon Simulator. You got this really gung-ho little warrior trying to climb you, and then you got this weird trying to control every finger, trying to get him off
you. Like slap the. Well, maybe it's not just one little guy trying to climb you. It's a bunch of them. Or I guess that's just as the levels get harder, you got more and more of these things. You're just trying to swat them off you before they can get to your, you know, whatever it was, the rune on the top of your head.
Oh, that's yeah. I want to play that now.
That's really cool.
That's great. I reckon we should click again.
Let's click
one
again.
click. Triple.
Alert.
Germ.
Germ. Germ.
Germ. Germ.
Okay. Triple germ alert.
So
some sort of.
I straight away went to 000.
Okay.
As my sort of thing.
For those for those non-Australians, that's our emergency phone number.
Mm-hmm. With germs, I'm kind of liking the idea that maybe it's a virus outbreak and a character's called 000. So you're the you're first on scene.
I like
to deal with.
I
with
like
the
the idea of
virus
like a
outbreak.
kick-ass hero called 000. Like kick-ass Aussie action hero. That's cool.
That's where you're taking it.
Well, yeah.
Just when you said that's like the first one on scene, I've gone straight to like LA Noire style, but you're like this dude with like a little germ tray.
You're questioning the germs.
It's just swabbing everything.
It's like, no, this is semen. This isn't a germ. No. Trying to think.
Your little spectral analysis tool.
I was thinking like something similar like that, but like, did you ever play? I think it was Pandemic. It was. I can't remember the name. It was on iPhone where you pretty much you had a disease or a germ, and you had to pretty much take over the 100% of the world's population.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yep.
Was it Contagion?
No.
Was it Plague Inc?
Oh,
yes, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking of something like that.
That was pretty cool.
So we're thinking...
it'd be like cooties, because everyone knows germs are cooties, and cooties come from girls.
So it's a game set in a primary school.
Yeah, we don't want to go that way, do we? Bully? You got that game Bully or Canis Canum. But no, I'm going way off the rank.
That's all right.
No, we could do it. We could do it because maybe it's that it's played in a school, and I don't know if it's cooties or an actual disease. Maybe we can do some like anti-vax social commentary here on spreading of measles or something. But maybe maybe it is similar to Plague Inc. You play the disease, and the triple alert comes in that if 3 cases get like found out, then that's like you lose the game.
I've got it. This is a AAA seller right here. So you are a group of special operatives of the upper kind. What are they, like Navy SEALs? But you are the 3 alert germs. So when there's a global crisis, they send in the 3 alert germs.
and
they've all got like wait. You remember like the 3 ninjas, like those kids?
Yes,
it's like that. It's like a good family romp. So
awesome, and they've all got like one's codenamed Ebola and one's codenamed I don't know SARS.
And then there's Cooties, yeah,
and
like
Cooties.
the fat one. And he's always got a cold sore. Like.
So what sort of game is this? Is like a third-person sort of cover shooter or something?
Like Cooking Mama. No, yeah, probably like that. Yeah, I reckon like that. It's like
Cooking Mama
Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell.
Yeah,
like Metal Gear or Splinter Cell.
But like super goofy and kind of they're bumbling.
Yeah, that's it. They kind of like half-assed it, and they like the president's like, I don't know how you did it, 3 germs, but. And then Ebola's got this like kind of like the hots for the president's daughter. You know, this is you know how it goes. It writes itself.
Yeah, totally.
It does.
Oh man, that's good. I don't think we can beat that then.
No,
perfect.
Definitely not. 3 to 1 click.
Weaponry.
Purchasing.
There we go.
Collect. That's not interesting. That's just a loot box game. Any game with loot boxes.
Oh, that's Overwatch.
Yeah, there you go.
This game is called microtransactions. Yeah.
Microtransactions 2018 because it's a yearly franchise.
It's a simulator, microtransaction simulator. Yeah, it's like people that buy those what do they call it? Slot machine games on iPads. This is it. You got it.
Yeah, you
so
don't
it's not even real money. Ironically,
you're spending real money.
No, ironically, this game doesn't make you spend real money. Like you said, it's a simulator. So it just simulates. You've got virtual currency, but then you have to use it to buy microtransactions on the virtual games.
Yeah, and they even make you watch like a crappy video for 10 seconds so you can play it again. But then you have to. Remember the old days where you play like text-based games on browsers and you wanted any more turns? You had to send a link to someone, they click on that, and then you get another turn.
Oh, yeah.
You have to, it's like Farmville. It forces everyone on your Facebook page
to just open loot boxes constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't actually get anything.
And then defriend you because you've been sending it to them.
Yeah.
Well, look, listen, people watch fucking like unboxing videos and like opening Kinder Surprise videos on YouTube. I'm sure someone would play a game where you're just opening loot boxes constantly with virtual money and not actually getting to do anything with what you get out of it. and then like making their friends do it too. That's a total winner.
Yeah,
I bet you if you actually search, there'd actually be games like that on Steam already.
Probably.
Yeah, which is kind of sad.
Well, it's basically just like one of those idle games then almost. Like Cookie Clicker or...
Oh, God.
I've played way too many of those games. It's ridiculous. I sit there playing, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun watching all these numbers go up. And then 15 minutes in, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And just close the tab.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got an idea for a game at an illegal weapons trade.
Okay.
Sort of, you're almost like in a black market.
Mm-hmm.
You play an undercover operative.
Okay.
And you're trying to work out who in this place is selling the nuclear weapon.
The nuclear. Okay. So you work. So you're undercover working for an arms dealer, basically.
Undercover, maybe either working for an arms dealer or you're working for the US government or something like that.
Well, no, I mean undercover. You're undercover with the under the employee of the arms dealer, working for the government.
Yeah, and you're trying to work out which group in here is actually selling the selling nuclear armaments.
Right.
So you've got to sort of go through different dialogue options and that sort of stuff, and buy from certain other places so that you sort of gain the trust of the different
and
groups
sort of
out there.
work your way up the tree.
Work your way up the tree.
Head honcho.
So is this text based? Because it sounds like remember Mafia Wars? That used to be that Facebook thing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely a game that's got a bit of an economy and sort of management of your money as you buy things, but with this narrative laid over the top of it.
Yeah, so it can either be a text sort of game, or it can more be almost an adventure game sort of styled thing where you can walk between these different places in this bazaar or.
Well, that's given me an idea though of because thinking of Mafia was Mafia Wars multiplayer or no, it wasn't. It was just.
I think it was multiplayer, but it was leaderboard multiplayer sort of thing.
Okay, because I was thinking of a sort of more like a multiplayer style, I guess sort of like a modern Mafia Wars, where you are competing against a bunch of other people to make your way to the top of this, to be the top arms dealer sort of thing. But there's an aspect of being able to storm each other's strongholds and, take their shit. I don't know, some sort of competitive multiplayer, where there's this, I don't know, I guess some sort of ongoing status or hierarchy that you can, basically if you beat another team in a match, then you go up a rank or something like that, but you get, I don't know, but you're also selling to the other teams. I don't know, I'm lost. The idea was half there.
No, I started thinking about. Have you played Papers, Please?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can nearly do it like that, where it's like the dude's like, okay, this is what the weapons are coming in. This is what we need. Oh wait, no, these are forgeries. Serial numbers are wrong.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool with that sort of aspect of it.
Yeah, and then maybe you've even got a sneaky what's it called, detector, like the radiation detector. I can't think of what it's actually called.
No, with you, so you can see really weird Russian people nude.
Oh no, I'm more trying to find radiation on people's clothes so that you can tell which ones have actually been close to nuclear.
Oh, they got yellow
so
cake
that
on
you can.
Yeah, I'm with you. Is that what they call it? Yellow
I think
cake,
so. Yeah,
uranium. Yeah.
Well, it could be basically you're playing like a customs agent or something, and basically having to scan these different things, and you're tracking these weapons as they travel around to try to find the source of them.
That's what it is. It's a Geiger counter. So you got a Geiger counter that you can detect radiation on people, so that you know maybe which group to target for extra.
Yeah, well, you could have a bunch of tools. I've been playing. Have you guys played Orwell at all?
No,
I've installed it.
Yeah,
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, we talked about it the other day. It's this interesting kind of. It's sort of just a narrative thing, but you basically play this character who is working for the government in this made up nation, and you're going through news articles and people's chats and people's computers and finding relevant information to upload to sort of solve these terrorist attacks. So I'm kind of thinking that sort of thing. You're almost you're having to keep track of people, and like you said, Trevor, but adding in this papers please aspect of sort of a real time people coming through, and you've got different tools at your disposal to track them and decide who are the suspects.
Yeah,
I'd play the shit out of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you could. I think you could do that well.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And you can just imagine, unlike Papers, Please, I'd like a more realistic art style. So, probably more. You could almost not quite photorealistic, but you know the full 3D.
Yeah, well, you could almost ramp that up to 3D, or even, and we do this too often, VR, where you're both having to.
You took it there.
You're basically paying almost like a TSA agent, or like a security agent at an airport or something. And so having to split your attention between the person who's coming up to talk to you, but also like check the X-ray for their luggage,
and the person twitching in the back, trying to hide something in their bag or take something out of their bag.
Making decisions,
hide in someone else's bag, and
making decisions about whether they're just nervous or actually suspicious, and I mean that's honing much closer to what Papers, Please actually is, but it'd be interesting to add those different aspects to it.
That's cool.
I think we've got a banger on our hands here.
Totally. That's fun.
Someone make it, please. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. As what always happens when we decide we've come up with a good game, we throw it away and start a new one. All right. Assist.
Bludgeon.
Reducing.
Oh, jeez.
So you seem to be like a crime fighter that goes to schools and go, okay, look, I'm here. I am the friendly officer. Assist. Bludgeoning.
I'm your friendly local neighborhood vigilante, here to tell you kids about how to bludgeon criminals.
Less,
right?
And I'm assisting you to reduce crime in this area.
It's like a crappy Captain Planet. It's like, I'm going to bring bludgeonings down to 0
by giving everyone guns. No more bludgeoning.
And knives for stabbing.
Yeah.
Bludgeoning is a coward's weapon. Real men use guns.
Oh god, it's honing too close to reality.
That was it. We didn't even give a game comment there, did we?
Yeah, I'm not sure where the game is yet.
It's just what you do in your spare time, Pez.
Okay, I've got. Yeah, I know, right? Living up in the Hunter Valley. Now I reckon I went straight to like Double Dragon, where you're like a vigilante in a way, like you're a dude that you've got like some sweet machetes, and you're going up against like a gang that's like just straight up that has like weapons, blunt weapons for bludgeoning, and you're taking down this racket.
Yep,
the bludgeoners. Yep. And it's just like Streets of Rage or
like
double
the sharps versus the blunts.
Yeah,
or something.
Yeah. And there'll be like different gangs. There'll be like a really like suave gang that has like croquet mallets, and they all dress. And then you've got like a bunch of punk rockers that just have like ballpoint hammers, and then you go up against, and it's a dude that's head is like a square, like you know what I mean. It's like his head's a square and he headbutts people. And he's like he's like boss block or something like that. Yeah, I've got it.
I kind of like the idea of like a street hockey group. Have the big American ice hockey sticks.
Hockey sticks. Yeah,
they're skating around on asphalt with their. They're not really getting far, but they're intimidating.
Yeah, I like that. There's not enough of those classic like side-scrolling beat 'em ups with all the flashy enemies and different characters. I loved how in those games all the enemies had names that like when you start hitting them, they'd come up the top and under their health bar.
Yeah, but they were like really like they had after it, like Skitzer, Stabber. Or there'd be that one guy called Mickey.
Yeah. Some of them were just like these really nondescript names. It's like, now you're punching Bob.
Yeah. It was always the fat ones were called Bob. It's like, here comes Bob. It's like a big deal. It's like that's profiling.
Not all fat guys are called Bob. Yeah.
I'm now seeing that there's like when you're going up against these guys, because you said machetes, you're like cutting arms off and all this sort of stuff. Are you then allowed to like pick up their arms and like beat them?
No, because then you bludgeon them.
Yeah,
then you become what you've hated. You've lived long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I like the idea that as you get hit, it's just bruises. It's just constant bruising. There's no blood.
Or if you duct tape, that's it. You just. It's like, oh, you're not even cut up. No, I'm just slightly. I got a dead arm.
Yeah. Just bruised all over. There's some internal bleeding, but
yeah, it's. Oh, yeah, but like, unless you like tape a knife to their arm and use their arm,
or just take some time to like file their bone down to a point.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Just for stabbing.
It's like a mini game in between levels. You just pick up an arm. You just gradually just sharpening.
Oh, God. I just got to say, I love the idea of these gangs that are so intent. Like, they have a creed around how they will hurt each other. It's like, we'll not hurt another person unless it slices through their skin.
I do like the idea of like some random thug walking up with a gun and he pulls the gun out and everyone's like, hey, put that gun away.
We have rules here.
And they're trying to decide, wait, is that... It's breaking the skin, so is it sharp? But it's sort of blunt. It's just going really fast. So is it bludgeoning? But they can't figure it out.
They just stick to it. It's like, hey, come on, you're ruining it. This,
yeah,
they like even the machete gang and the bludgeoning gang. They all stop and go. They just like drop. Come on, like what are you doing? And they really make the dude with the gun feel like
bad, just,
like a disappointment.
Yeah.
And he probably goes shoots himself. I don't know.
But according to the Pathfinder rulebook, basically. A gunslinger does both bludgeoning and piercing damage, so...
He's like the Daywalker, he's like Blade.
Yeah,
he's the true hero. There's another one. So you play the Daywalker, but we're still trying to bring bludgeoning down to zero. So he's also the solution and the cause of the problem. Unless he's proof.
Well, maybe he's the final boss.
One can live in. Yeah, he can. Everyone can live in harmony. He lives each day as a bludgeoner and a stabber. Why can't everyone just get along?
So we're back to giving everyone guns.
Yes, guns are the answer.
Here, kids.
So what I'm actually thinking now is, remember in the movie Blade how like the sword, if you didn't do something very special with the sword, then blades came out of the handle and cut your hand to pieces. Yep. I like the idea that if the sword gets knocked out of your hand, someone picks up the sword, because basically you're now just playing Blade.
So now we're just making a Blade game.
Yeah.
His name is Blade.
Their hand literally just gets demolished and they're back to like just having a stump. I kind of like the idea that, that's why you've got a sword, because
that'd be a pretty good mechanic in a game, that like your main weapon, you can lose it, but anyone else picks it up, it actually does damage to them. So you could just throw it at someone and they.
I just had the best idea. It's like when you said that with a weapon, like someone picks up, like there's a boss, he's got a special bludgeoning weapon like a hammer. If you pick it up and you don't do something, all of a sudden you start hitting yourself in the face with a hammer. You're like,
must bludgeon.
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah, let's click again.
Yeah, I think
3,
so.
2, 1, click. North.
Deceased.
Rash.
Oh, that's a hard one.
Oh no.
Is this like a game where you play a medical examiner in Antarctica? I'll just try to bring North in there somehow. Because a rash at least comes in that like some of the cases you have could be caused by, or like that could be one of the symptoms or one of the evidence that you find. But
or you can do like, have you played Firewatch?
Yeah, yes. I haven't finished
it starts like you got like you're in like you're known in town that you like the backstory is you had a one night stand and got a terrible rash. Whoever you got it from deceased, so you've moved up north to start a new life, and then you're trying to escape your past.
And you find out that the person that you had the one night stand with is deceased.
Yeah,
and
she was deceased the whole time. Life is a gay gravedigger.
That's like the big twist when you find that out.
And then roll credits. Yeah.
You had that typical horror trope of the flashback.
Well, all right. To take this out of the realm,
nuggets coming out of the face.
To take this somewhat out of the realm of necrophilia, maybe it's like a horror game, and so you find out that she was a ghost as opposed to just a dead body. But also, it's kind of a comedy game because, she gave you a ghostly STI that gave you a rash.
And that's why nothing could actually work to get rid of the rash.
No modern medicine's like, this is nearly
it's just
spiritual.
It's just oozing ectoplasm out your cock. Wait, we all do that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't for 110 days or whatever.
No ectoplasm for you.
Yeah.
That was the true reason he actually had a ghostly STI.
Who told you? Yeah.
I don't know.
That is a hard one.
That could be an interesting. That could be a kind of like a comedic game where you're trying to search out this woman who gave you this STI, and you do find out that she's a ghost, and so you're having to go to like paranormal experts and stuff,
and seances, and just trying to get in contact with her.
But you have to like seduce.
Yeah, they want to get a medical history.
That's it. You're in the middle of
like
this.
the fact that like you and a ghost are sitting in a waiting room at a doctor's office. You're just sitting there reading the magazines after you finally got hold of her, and you're like waiting to get your ghostly blood test.
and you can have like dialogue trees asking, so what did you actually dial? She usually say something
and then you can do like the Paragon
syphilis.
sort of thing. It's like you got like a trust meter too. Before you can ask the questions like, where did you get this rash from? You got to build a relationship with this. It's kind of like that date and daddy simulator, whatever it's called.
It's sort of like that movie Knocked Up. Like you have a one night stand.
Yeah.
You have a one night stand with this ghost. You find out that instead of that she's pregnant, it's that she gave you an STI. And but now you're sort of going through this together, building this relationship.
And you've got to have like the pottery scene from Ghost.
Right. I was trying to, okay.
I was trying to think what the equivalent of that would be, but then I imagine they're doing this, but she's got this like little rash on the side of her mouth the whole time, and he's trying not to touch it.
That's the game. You're just controlling his head to like not get too close to the rash.
It's all Surgeon Simulator controls.
Yeah. I mean, just assume if we don't say otherwise, every game we make is something like Surgeon Simulator. It just makes every game better.
Yeah.
All right, I think we'll avoid going further on that one.
Yeah, through to all click.
Oh, I've got a good one. Outbreak.
Religious.
Mimic.
Ooh. Okay. So there's a mimic outbreak within the religious institutions. So you're like a mimic exterminator. You got to go into all these different churches and work out if the priest is actually a mimic, and then totally burn the church down to the ground, sort of thing.
Oh wow.
We do tend to get blasphemous on the show.
I was going to say, you just dial that from 0 up to 100.
It's nuke it from space.
Yeah. I like the fact that you figure it out, and it's just like a queer. It goes straight from like LA Noire I've been playing a lot of LA Noire, so I might say this a few times. Like you go from LA Noire investigation skills, then it turns into this awesome like Matrix fight between you and this religious mimic.
That's good, actually. Yeah, like you walk in and you're questioning everyone in the church, and there's like investigative dialogue trees and stuff, and then when you catch them in the lie, they didn't know, they said it was the wrong verse of the Bible when you quoted something at them. And then the music starts up and it goes into third person, and you're fucking wall running around the church and blowing the shit out of each other.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so basically, have you guys played Dark Souls 3?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so basically the priest just turns into one of those massive mimics with the treasure chest head and the massive tongue and all this sort of stuff, and it's like, that'd just be amazing just to
it just turns into this huge boss fight,
You know what that would be, though? It's like when you play Dark Souls long enough, you know which one it is. So you walk into the church and then shoot the priest in the head and go, that is the mimic, because you know it's going to get angry.
Turns out that no. Yes, the chain was the wrong way, but...
Oh, that was...
He just put it on backwards that morning. He was a bit tired. Like
he didn't mean to hang the cross upside down.
And then the choir boy turns into the fucking mimic and kills you.
Oh, what a twist! Yeah.
The altar boy or whatever. That's pretty cool. I do like that idea.
I really like that idea.
Yeah, that's sweet. Maybe it's not just churches. Like we can take. I can't remember what the word was that brought us to church, but anyway, like that could just be one level. It
was religious.
Religious, right. But maybe it's, you're in a bunch of different situations, a bunch of different locations. Every level is different, and so you're having to question these people and
maybe it's just you going town to town and you're trying to work out who the mimics are in
each town. Well, yeah, and so you have to learn a little bit about the town and about the people so that you can figure out who's out of place or who's been, behaving strangely or...
Yeah, you can simplify it and, like, take it back to, like, the old Western days where it's, like, there's the town population might be 30, so then it's a lot easier to investigate everyone, and then you're like, oh, what's the history of this town? You do a little bit better than you find that one drunk that's blurts out. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually. Yeah. I like that idea of going from town to town and doing it in a Western style, but bringing in, like Old West, but bringing in those sort of horror and elements is really cool. Like, I know they've sort of done zombies in the Old West, but making it a bit deeper than that and bringing in these huge creatures that, you figure out who the mimic is. This is late in the game. You go into the saloon and like you talk to people, you figure out that the barman is the mimic, and he just like starts transforming and just grows and just like destroys the whole saloon around you, just throwing people off and just...
That's my favourite game so far. I'm excited for that right now. I'm not even excited for Red Dead Redemption 2 now. No. I'm going to be just going into a bar. I'm like, they're just normal hookers.
I know. I'm going to be disappointed now if a giant mimic doesn't destroy a saloon in Red Dead Redemption 2. That's just, yeah. No, that'd be really cool. And then, you're just this super powered fucking cowboy or cow woman.
Well, now I really want, I'm going around Red Dead Redemption 2, doing some animal hunting, and one of the animals turns into a massive mimic, and it turns into like this massive sort of battle out on horseback.
Oh,
That'd just be amazing.
Well, I'm almost getting a Witcher vibe from it, but set in the Old West. And because, like you're this monster hunter that's going around, except that the people in the town don't really know that there are monsters, so you're sort of having to be subtle about asking
discreet
around
about it.
Yeah.
Or you could like make it like a very narrative driven where it's like, okay, these are mimics, but you have like the 7 mimics of like the ancients, where you like each one of these ancient mimics has come to life and they've taken over 7 towns of maybe 10 towns. So you got to figure out which one's which. You follow the backstories, and each one of them's different from the other ones. Like you said, one's the bartender, but one of them could be like this really OP fire one, or one's this like really heavy telepathic one, or one's
totally. They've all got their sort of different attributes and their different styles, and
but I like that idea of having the 10 towns. So there's 3 towns out there that
don't have
don't
mimics
necessarily
in them.
have a mimic. So,
but there's still people acting weird, just because like any town has their like strange people. So you really have to.
Yeah.
And when you like accuse someone of being a mimic, I think you really have to commit to it. Like maybe you have to literally shoot them in the head.
And then you can go on like an emotional level where it's like your mother was like the 7th mimic, and then you're like, then you realize she was a human, but she became a mimic. She got fucked by a mimic when you were a kid. And then that's why like you. That's why like,
you've
when
got
it comes
these powers. You're like half breed. Yeah.
You're like
you're
not
mimic.
really like over P or anything. You're like. You just know acrobatics.
Well, we've kind of
the Wild West knew acrobatics back then.
It's like, oh my man, my mum fucked a mimic, and all I got was acrobatics. God damn it.
I like the idea that as you go on and you sort of like kill maybe 4, maybe 5, as you turn up to the next town, like your face is plastered all over town because of you're now wanted for all these murders in all these other towns.
Well, I think maybe that's dependent on how many times you've accused someone of being a mimic and been incorrect. So you've literally just like shot someone in the head and then gone, oh fuck, I was wrong.
Or, yeah, if you do it enough, eventually the populace is like, no, this guy's trouble, and they burn you like a witch.
But they got to catch you first. You're pretty acrobatic.
Because this is religious too, don't forget. So a lot of them are going to be like, back in those days, are like, oh, yeah, they have white teeth. They're clearly a witch. Or this dude knows acrobatics. He's clearly a mimic.
He's clearly a spawn of the devil. He climbed that fucking water pipe and didn't fall down.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea now that he's traveling around the Old West and he doesn't necessarily hold weapons on his body. Like it's not on his hip or anything like that. He's just got this old Bible. But when he opens it up, it's like got this got like a cutout section that he's got a gun in that he just pulls out, and so it looks like he's just a preacher going from town to town.
Oh God, you play a preacher? Yeah, okay. That'd be good.
Yeah,
that brings the religious aspect.
Have you played Call of Juarez?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Because there's there's two characters there. One of them's like your classic like cowboy that's like patooey spitting a jug. The other one's this reverend that's just gone from the light to like
that's right,
fucking badass. And when he goes around, he's like a reverend, but he just pretty much just sends people to hell.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
but he doesn't know acrobatics.
Yeah. So ours is better.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I really like that. That could be a really cool game.
That's a banger.
That really could. Awesome. Let's go again.
One more.
3, 2, 1, click.
I got Ladybug.
Upgrade.
Monitor.
And monitor. Ladybug, upgrade, and monitor. So I don't think we should go with this, but when I think Ladybug... So I have 3 kids, and there's this show called Miraculous, where it's like set in France, and there's this girl who's a superhero called Ladybug, and she's got like a yo-yo. So that's where my mind went. But you guys probably haven't watched that.
No. This one's hard. I really can't think of anything.
Okay, so I'm going for you play like I don't know what one of those bugologists are. Entomologists, and you're monitoring the ladybug population because someone has introduced an upgrade to the ladybug.
Oh,
and basically weaponized the ladybug.
Weaponized the ladybug.
Fuck yeah, it's like Metal Gear. Yeah,
their spots now fire lasers.
We can launch a nuclear weapon anywhere on the planet from this ladybug.
Yeah, as long as there's a ladybug population there.
Basically, they all just clump together and explode.
Oh, God. The idea of ladybugs all like clumping together to form some sort of shape or being or weapon, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah. So that's where my mind went. The idea that this entomologist finds out and starts monitoring, ladybug population, kind of like a... at first it can just be a narrative game or something like that, talking about, you sort of can look through different news articles that you start seeing.
Well, I really I do
deaths,
like maybe we can
deaths occurring and
maybe even though Ladybug was the prompt, maybe we can extend this to other bugs because I really like the idea of this game that starts off really nice and you're this entomologist and the gameplay is that you're like running around chasing fucking ladybugs and butterflies and catching them. And, you study them, you look at them under the microscope. There's sort of some little things where you can tag them or whatever. But after the first couple of levels, you start seeing like serial numbers on the fucking bugs. And then
one of them's Hitman.
One of the bugs is Hitman.
Got a little barcode on the back of the neck. What the fuck?
Starts killing all the other bugs. Or like, you notice like the wings are made out of this like highly advanced polymer or something. Like you start noticing all this shit about, and you're the one who figures out that the government or some secret organization has been experimenting with these bugs and giving them these upgrades and turning them into weapons.
That's cool.
And then you bust into the president's office and you're like, Mr. President, and then you're telling him this, and then you look closer and there's a ladybug on his shoulder, and you're like,
oh shit! It's like controlling him. That's it. A dragonfly flies in and just like blasts its way right through the president's head.
I went straight to remember the really crappy Flash games you used to have at school as a kid? For me, there was remember the Magic School Bus?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like ladybugs. It's like, let's go to Africa and count the ladybugs, and then it'd be just like really poorly hidden ladybugs. You're like, oh, there's one. There's one. There's one. All right, let's go to Paris. And there'd be some reason there's a big ladybug on the side of Paris. Let's go to Mars.
It's like one of those hidden object games.
Yeah, I went really crappy one, but I like the whole ladybugs are going to take over the world sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I love this idea of they're using insects to infiltrate the White House. That's awesome. And so all your weapons. So I'm not sure what sort of game it is, but at some point you probably have to fight the bugs. And so you've got like fucking fly swats and bug spray. Like I like the idea of a game where those are your weapons.
Have you ever killed a ladybug? I can't. I've seen one like with a fly or like a moth. I'll squash the shit out of it. A ladybug. I'm like, just being a ladybug. That's where they got
it's like, just let it go.
Yeah.
That they'd be the most, unsuspecting thing that you could ever find.
Nobody suspects the butterfly.
Yeah.
Nobody suspects the ladybug.
What was that? That was like Family Guy. No one suspects that. But no,
it was
Simpsons.
The Simpsons. Yeah, Bart was having a dream about burning down the school.
It wasn't me. It was the butterfly. He's holding the gas can. Yeah. That's right.
I'm now liking the idea of throughout you can see like little like throughout the first couple of levels there's like some articles that you can read that talking about some murders that have occurred. If you read into the fine print, it's like or if you look into the photo, you see like a little grainy ladybug or bug just
totally
in each of the photos.
Yeah, that's cool. I love this idea of unraveling a conspiracy where someone is upgrading bugs to create a fucking army. That's awesome.
Yeah. But I think one of the best things that you mentioned, Pez, was Metal Gear Solid. I love that idea of having like this massive bug Metal Gear, and it's like this.
That's the end game.
And then instead of going Metal Gear, you're like ladybug, Meryl. Awesome. God,
Snake, ladybug.
Now, would your name be like something classic, like like Peebo or hit him with the old Peebo, that spray? What else is there? There's Mortain,
Aerogard.
Right? Yeah. That's your code name. That's the name of the game. Code name Aerogard.
Or you're working for like the I'm trying to think of how RAID could be used as a as an acronym. Like RAID is the
acronym
like the research
for your
facility.
Yeah, researching animals and insects.
Animals
daily.
Insect department.
Okay, I'm looking what chemicals people use to kill ladybugs, and
no one ever has killed a ladybug.
Eco oil seems to be.
No, that's a fun fact. Nobody has ever killed a ladybug. We would be the first in this game.
It turns
it's
out
going to be very controversial.
It turns out the ladybugs are actually immortal.
They've been ruling the planet for the last 100,000 years.
You go to squish it with your finger, then all of a sudden your finger slowly gets lifted back up, and, like, and then it throws you across the room.
He's just like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing?" All right. I think maybe we've got time for our final segment, Trevor. We didn't talk about doing this. But, when we have a guest on, Pez, we like to ask you, what is the game you are most anticipating?
Crazy enough, I don't have one. When I think about it, I try not to get too anticipated, but if I would have to, I'm more anticipated about the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Okay.
I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. 7 in general. My body's covered in Final Fantasy tattoos, and I'm very, very curious to see how it's going to come up, because I've worked partially with Square Enix before, and I know a few people in there. You hear whispers coming out of the camp, what it could and couldn't, like how it's looking. Not that how it's looking, but like that, how much the name's getting talked more and more, obviously, because they're working on it.
Yep.
7, straight at the 7 remake for me.
All right. Well, this is going to be tricky then, because what we do now is we ask you to forget everything you know about that game, and we're going to.
I'll just forget the rest of my life.
We're going to try to come up with a game design based solely on the name Final Fantasy VII
remake.
Exactly. So we have to figure out what this game is and why they're remaking it based on that name. So Final Fantasy. I mean, it's when you think about it out of the context of the actual game series, like it's sort of a very generic sort of name. It could go in a lot of different directions. So I don't know.
Let's be honest, it's a blowjob simulator. This is the 7th installment.
It's the 7th installment. It was originally on the Sega Mega Drive, and they're remaking it for modern consoles. Well,
I mean, getting blowjobs in 16-bit. Well, you're gonna love them
in 4K. 4K blowjobs. I mean, and the Mega Drive had like so many different things you could plug into it. There's definitely some sort of peripheral that would suck your dick, right?
Oh yeah, I mean they had the Sonic,
Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles.
Oh, the Mega CD, I think it was called. Was it the Mega CD?
I think so. And then there was
but then the extra add-on was the Mega Suck Me.
Yeah, the Mega Suck Me. Yeah, the Sega Mega Suck Me. Don't you remember that? And I don't know who's bought the rights to it. Is it? It's Xbox. You know that port that you'd plug the Kinect into? Now it's a dick sucking peripheral.
Yeah, sure. Because no one else. Yeah, uses.
Yeah, that's perfect.
When the reason I say that because every time I tell someone that about like, oh, what's your favorite game? That don't like, when someone asks me about gaming, they go, oh, well, what's your favorite game? I go, Final Fantasy VII. And they go, that sounds gay. Like, it's not gay. Really cool. Because it's some sort of like porn simulator.
That's it, like non-gamers, I guess, if they don't know. That's what I mean. Like the name itself, it doesn't evoke like what the game is really about. It's sort of very out there, but
yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
cool. Well, I think that'll do it. I think that'll do us this week. We'll definitely end on a blowjob simulator.
It's not like we haven't before.
That's right. We've definitely
find ourselves. Yeah, that's how every podcast should end.
That's our new tagline.
I will say, real quickly, I was on a panel at, it wasn't RTX, I was at somewhere, and someone asked us a question, go, oh, how do you want to die? And I said, no, what'd they say? What would be the best way to die? And I said, blowjobs. And then I said, and that's it, everybody. And I didn't give anyone an answer, because there could have never been a better answer than death by blowjobs. So.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks for joining us, Pez. This was a lot of fun. Do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you, or where they used to be able to find you?
Well, if you you used to be able to find me at You Game Bro Podcast every Wednesday at 8 p.m, which I believe it's still going.
Yep.
Hopefully, I paid a lot of money for it to keep going. You can find You Game Bro at You Game Bro. YouGameBroPodcast.com, and you can find it every Wednesday, Australian Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/YouGameBroPodcast, hosted by the wonderful Mr. Matty Mouse. You can find him that on Twitter. And I don't know if you guys say this very often, but if you're looking for awesome podcasts, don't forget to go to the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Just use hashtag AGPN. You'll be transported to some awesome
absolutely
death by blowjobs, simulator games, podcasts.
Yeah, everyone else we come up with it. Everyone else will be reviewing it. So. In no time,
if ever it gets made.
Oh, I'm sure someone will. There's a game. There's the global game jam coming up. We'll get someone to make a blowjob simulator. I'm sure.
I want to see the religious mimic outbreak.
Yes,
yes, definitely.
All right. Well, you can find us on all the social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're not on Snapchat, but Bitstormcast. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Bitstorm. We're also on Podchaser, podchaser.com/Bitstorm. Trevor?
We're also on iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe there. We've got a website, bitstormcast.com. As Pez said before, we'd like to plug the AGPN, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Amazing podcasts out there. You Game Bro, Reset Podcast, Inconsolables, Hungry Gamers. Check them all out.
Yep.
Tons of them. And we'd also like to thank Kuridas for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure, as that's our theme song.
Yes. All right, so thank you again for joining us on Bitstorm. I am Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm Pez.
Death by blowjobs.
Death by blowjobs. That's a band name. Death by blowjobs.
Death by snoo snoo.
Death by blowjobs. All right.